Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm certainly having a wonderful day, and a lot of exciting things happen in my world. And hopefully, we're going to teach you lots of things that you can do so that you can have good days every day. This show's goal is to teach you how to naturally get well and stay well. One thing we all have in common, we all have health issues. And it may be back pain, neck pain, digestive issues, headaches, neck pain, acid reflux. Everybody's got something. I've been in practice 32 years now. And in 32 years, I've learned that when patients come in our offices, they want advice on how to get well. And that's what this show is all about. So today, we're going to talk about fake health foods because this drives me nuts. I watch TV and I'll read commercials and I'll see them and they'll say, well, this is a healthy food. Remember that phrase, part of this nutritious breakfast? That was probably one of the original ones that drove me nuts, where people are duped into thinking that what they're eating is good. Now, the challenge with doing these topics is I'm going to be challenging you. You're going to have preconceived notions that what you're doing is right, and when I blow that out of the water, you're going to go, that can't be right because I've been doing it all these years. I get that. It's okay. Take a breath. We're going to pull you through this thing. All right, let's start with one. This one is a biggie for me, is if you go to the malls and they have shops now where they serve smoothies. And you get a smoothie and you're going to think, well, I'm going to do something right. Instead of having a burger, instead of having fries, instead of having a chicken sandwich, I'm going to have a smoothie because it's good for me. So you get your berry blend smoothie and you say, oh, this tastes so good. You ever have that where the smoothies are just off the chart delicious? I've done this before. Sometimes they have up to 80 grams of sugar, 350 calories or more, very little protein, and a lot of times very little fruit. It may be synthetic fruit flavors. Sometimes they'll use fruit concentrates, and this way it's cheaper. But the other thing that they add a lot of times to these fruit smoothies is sugar, and they add a lot of sugar. And when you put sugar in the body, it doesn't do you well. So in order to cut back on this, now let's assume there's 80 grams of sugar in this smoothie. In a day, in a perfect day, you should have about 40 grams of sugar. So that's double the ideal amount of sugar that you're having, and it's just one drink. And that may be part of your lunch, a smoothie and something else. Now, when we talk about carbohydrates, I'm going to cover this a little later, but when we talk about carbohydrates, I want you to learn a new word. It's called net carbs or net carbohydrates. And what that is you take the amount of carbohydrates that you eat in a day. So add up all the carbohydrates you eat. This has 20 grams, this has 50 grams, smoothie has 80 grams. So you add that all up, and then you subtract the amount of fiber that you eat in a day. And that's what's called the net carbs. Now, why is that important? Because fiber slowly pushes the food through your colon, and you get a slow release of sugar. And then it binds to a lot of the sugar and carries some of it away. So a rough mathematical equation you can do is total carbohydrates minus the amount of fiber. So a couple of things happen now. You're eating more fiber, which hopefully means you're eating less sugar. And if you can get to the magic number of 40 grams, now that's hard, I'm going to be honest with you, that's a tough number. But if you can get to that magic number of 40 grams of net carbs a day, you'll feel great, your energy will improve, chances are your insulin will stabilize. If you have insulin issues and insulin resistance, your brain will work better. It's amazing what's going to happen when all you do is add some fiber to your diet. Now, the only place you can get fiber is from plants. That's it, the only place you can get fiber. Now, you can always make your own. People go out and spend, this drives me nuts, how much money people spend on fast food. And everybody comes into my offices and they say, well, Dr. Joe, I'm just so busy. I don't have time. I don't have time. It is so much quicker when I teach you how to make better choices when it comes to food than it is for you to even stop to a drive-through and pick something up. Quicker, faster, better for you, cheaper. You'll feel better. You'll lose weight. You'll probably add years to your life. There's no downside when you start making better choices. So what I do is I have a smoothie every day. In fact, I have one sitting in front of me right now at the studio. And I use something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. These are two powders, and you can go to my website and look them up. drjoeesposito.com is my website. And it's about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a complete multivitamin. I take a scoop of Super Greens and a scoop of Essential Source, mix them with coconut milk or almond milk. I don't do dairy products, so I do coconut or almond milk. Put it in a glass jar, shake it up, and drink it. It's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need for a day. If you want to get fancy, take a frozen banana, take some frozen berries, put it in a little food processor, whip it up. There's your smoothie. A whole lot cheaper than what you're doing right now. A gazillion times better for you than what you're doing right now. You'll feel better, way less sugar. So now there's no downside to doing this. I always say at least get the minimum amount of nutrients to make your body work. And that's why I got Super Greens and Essential Source. That's why I invented it years ago. And again, those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Energy bars. This is another one. Folks will go, I'm just going to have a bar for lunch. I'm going to grab one of these energy bars and I'm going to feel great. A lot of these things are nothing more than fancy candy bars. They can have up to 500 calories or more. Higher price tag, of course, than just candy bars. And their compact size, you eat them and you go, that really wasn't enough. I'm not full. So you're duped into thinking I'm going to have this as a meal replacement, and it doesn't work. And a lot of times in these bars, they'll use something called high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, when it gets into your body, has to be converted into glucose, which is the fuel that your body uses for energy. In the process, the conversion occurs in your liver, and it creates something called uric acid. Uric acid, when it gets in your joints, it hurts. Now, I'm a chiropractor. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition, a retired dietitian, award-winning author. This radio show is heard coast to coast and around the world. So I'm pretty well versed in how the body works. And as a chiropractor, I want to make sure you're not doing things that make you cause pain, but high fructose corn syrup will. Uric acid, which gets in your joints and hurts, prevents you from producing something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels, which increases circulation to your brain, your heart, your reproductive organs, if you understand what I'm saying there. It's a family show. So you're eating this high fructose corn syrup. You're causing liver damage. Fatty liver can form. You're getting joints in your crystals in your joint that hurt, and you're preventing proper blood flow. So I've got to go to a break. I'm going to open up the lines. If you have a healthcare question, give me a call. The number is 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. Again, my website, if you want to listen to archive radio shows, if you have questions you want to send me, send them through the website, drjoeesposito.com, or you can just Google Dr. Joe. Because of you, the listeners, we're the number one Dr. Joe in the world. Hey, folks, don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for being here. Do appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend a little time with me. And what we're talking about today is fake health food. And this is a big issue because so many times you're duped into thinking you're eating something healthy when it's not. And then you can't figure out why your health isn't improving, why you're not losing weight, why you're not having more energy, why your love life isn't getting better. And a lot of that has to do with the junk that you're putting in your body when you think is good for you. And this is kind of a neat little thing. Relatively new is a lot of fast Mexican food. Fast food Mexican burritos, especially tacos. And you're thinking to yourself, it kind of fits into anything, I'm going to have a chicken burrito instead of a beef burrito. Or many times people think, well, I'm going to have chicken instead of beef because it's so much better for you. So let's take a typical chicken burrito. Well over 1,000 calories, plenty of saturated fat, cheese, sour cream, of course, the chicken itself, jumbo flour tortilla. Not a good thing. And now if you go to some of these places, the thing's the size of your forearm. It's so big. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm having a chicken burrito, so it must be healthy for me. It's not. So a couple of ways to make a burrito healthy. I love Mexican food. I love burritos. And, it's traditional as well as if you go to Mexico, of course, it's not the same stuff we eat here in the States. But there's ways to make this healthy. And I always teach people this. And in fact, on my website, if you sign up for my newsletter, give me your email address, I'm going to send you a link to a lecture that I did called So What Can I Eat? And it's one of the things we cover in the So What Can I Eat lecture. And newsletter, by the way, we never, ever give out your email address to anyone. We don't send out a whole bunch of stuff. It's very seldom. We'll send it out every now and then. But also when I have lectures coming up around the country, when I'm going to promote something new, if we're going to do a new thing on Facebook or something like that, you'll see it on the newsletter feed as well. And just go to the website, drjoeesposito.com. So how do you make a burrito, chicken or steak or anything, healthy as opposed to being bad for you? Couple of things that are really easy to do. Instead of doing meat, I want you to do beans. The beans are going to have fiber. They're going to have nutrients in them. The animal products, zero fiber, lower levels of nutrients as well. I would stay away from the sour cream, and I would stay away from the cheese as well. And instead, I want you to increase your guacamole levels because guacamole is good for you. Avocados are really good for you. They have nutrients in them. And those nutrients are going to help you tremendously. So a lot of guacamole, no cheese, no sour cream, and also do it as a bowl. If you do it as a bowl, you're going to leave out the wrap, and that wrap, even it's tortilla, it's essentially nothing but sugar. So do a bowl instead. You can do a lot better. Let's start taking calls. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Chantel, how can we make your day better?
Hi, Dr. Joe. This is Chantel.
Nice.
I'm calling regarding back pain.
Okay.
I'm wondering if any type of exercise can help. I've been having it for a while, off and on. I've changed my mattress. I've changed my pillow, but I'm still feeling upper back pain.
Sure. Well, now, as a chiropractor, of course, I deal with back pain for the past 32 years I've been in practice. What usually happens if the pain doesn't go away in a couple of days, it's usually a pinched nerve. The bones in the spine are out of alignment, pinching nerves. Now, when you pinch a nerve, it hurts, obviously. So the only thing that's going to put that bone back in place is chiropractic care, because exercises might help, but if that bone is out of place, you need to manipulate it back into place.
Alrighty.
Okay?
I see.
And the other concern, too, is that 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. And so you do know it. Obviously, you're having pain. But 90% of the time, in theory, you can pinch a nerve and not know it. Those nerves control your organs. And this is why when people go to chiropractors, it's not just about pain. It's about overall health protocol, because you want to get the nervous system working properly. But it sounds like if you've had it for that long, it's a pinched nerve. You need to get it fixed.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you
Do
so
appreciate
much.
it. And that kind of leads us into our next caller. Joanne, how can we make your day better?
Hello, Dr. Joe Esposito. I hope you're doing well.
I am.
Good. I'm seeing a chiropractor. My problem is that, I was walking a lot. I'm a senior citizen, which I observed that a lot of senior citizens are walking, bent over to the side.
Yes.
And the chiropractor has helped me to straighten out more so that I'm not leaning more over to the side. I have the constant pain when I walk in my right, the bone, the hip bone or whatever. And he uses an activator. One of my hips was higher than the other, and he's doing some pelvic adjustment, I guess.
Good.
And so my question is, he uses the activator, and I don't know what he hit, but one time I was able to walk with no pain. So I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I just
well,
is there
there's many different types of many different chiropractic techniques. Activator's one of them. Very good technique. Excellent. We have in our offices, I have 6 doctors. And so what I do is when a patient comes into our offices, we'll have them work with one of the doctors. And if we're not getting all the results we want, we'll have them see one of the other doctors, because different people have different techniques. And some people respond wonderful to activators. Some people respond better to drop work. Some people respond better to what's called side posture. So it really depends on how you're going to respond. And we don't know that until we try it.
I see.
So talk to your doctor if you want to and say, hey, is there another technique you could use on me? Or is there somebody maybe you can refer me to? We have an office not far from you. Then maybe we can try a different technique. That's what I would suggest.
Okay. And so if there's a space in my what am I looking for? What word? In my spine, in the vertebra, in the subluxation.
Subluxation is a pinched nerve, right? Okay. The discs.
I guess there's a space in there, and I think I might have some missing cartilage. So with this one hip higher than the other, and some pelvic adjustment. So what do you think about a possibility of a hip replacement, which I really do not want to do?
Well, you're kind of jumping to the end game here. Hip replacements, I always tell people, if it's bone on bone and there's nothing you can do, I would then consider what's called stem cell injections, where they inject stem cells into the joint, and in some cases, you can actually regenerate new cartilage. So I would go chiropractic along with the stem cell, try that first. If it doesn't work, at least you're going to be as healthy as you possibly can going into the surgery and as healthy as you can coming out of the surgery. So, but
I hope that's not the end result.
No, it doesn't sound like, usually if it's bone on bone, you're not able to move your hip at all. So, yeah, so I would be real. I would talk to your doctor, or or get a second opinion, and then if you need to, if you call my office when 844-44 Dr. Joe rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air, I can maybe refer you to somebody who can get you some stem cell injections.
Okay, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful night, Doctor.
Thanks so much. I appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Yeah, so folks, with the show, if you're new to the show, what we try to do here is cover alternative ways to get well and stay well. Nutrition's a biggie because you have control of your diet. And the things like pinched nerve, subluxations is the fancy word we use, but disc degeneration. Those are things that then you may need some outside help with. But you have control 100% of your diet. And so stop putting the bad foods in and start putting the good foods in. I always talk about what I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. And those 7 foods are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I know it sounds like everything, right? Folks, got to go to break. Follow me on Facebook. It's Facebook/drjoeesposito.com /Dr. Joe Esposito. Follow me on Instagram. We send out some good information there. My website, if you want to order supplements, order my book, send me questions, listen to archived radio shows. That's drjoeesposito.com. Or just Google Dr. Joe, because Esposito is hard to spell, and we're the #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Hey, listen, I want you to do me a favor. We got a lot more to talk about. Tell your friends about the show, because we are coast to coast and around the world, and you've made us that way. All right, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. All right, don't go anywhere. Thanks for being here. This is the show where we teach you how to naturally get well and stay well. I'm so glad you're here today. I hope you're learning lots of good things, and you will learn good things as we go on. Today we're talking about fake health foods. You think you're doing something right, and you're not. And sometimes I'm going to burst your bubble when I give you some things that you thought you were doing right all these years, and you're not. This one came out a while ago, sugar-free foods. And it's still very popular, and people keep thinking, well, if I'm going to have a soda, I'm going to have a sugar-free soda. Or I'm going to have these sugar-free snacks, whatever it is. Not a good idea, because many times what they do is they replace sugar-free with artificial sweeteners. And when I talk about the 7 deadly sins of nutrition, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, people always say, well, Dr. Joe, what's the worst one? And if I had to pick one, the worst one you can put in your body is artificial sweeteners. Now, if you do aspartame, for example, aspartame breaks down to 3 components: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methyl esters. Don't worry about the chemistry. Aspartic acid, when it gets into your brain, is what's called an excitotoxin. It causes the brain to fire faster than it's supposed to and literally burns out your brain cells. So the brain is hyperactive and burns out the cells. If you do aspartic acid, the phenylalanine can affect your kidneys if you don't process phenylalanine properly. And methyl esters is methanol. Methanol is wood alcohol. When wood alcohol gets into your body, it's a toxin, and it can attack your nerves. And as a chiropractor, my concern is make sure your nerves are healthy. It can attack the optic nerve. And I've had tons of patients over the years, a lot, that have come to me. I've been doing this for 32 years now. And I get them off their diet soda, and they say, Doc, my vision is clearing up. Because the methyl esters converts to methanol. Methanol is wood alcohol, which is not good for you. And that converts into formaldehyde. And formaldehyde is a Class A carcinogenic. Now, again, these are small amounts, but I still don't want you putting these artificial sweeteners in your body. Sucralose is it's an estrogenic compound. It's a chlorinated hydrocarbon. And when you chlorinate a hydrocarbon, that's a big word, isn't it? It stimulates your estrogen receptor sites. Now, estrogen causes cell growth and can cause abnormal cell growth, but it causes you to lay down fat. And then fat starts producing estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat, which produces estrogen. See how you get stuck in that? That's why it's hard to lose weight, because fat actually produces estrogen, which makes you fatter. Kind of tough then. So it's really important to get rid of that body fat, because it's causing a lot of problems even with your hormones. Now, if you want to do something that's sugar-free and tasty, you can use something called stevia, Lohan, erythritol. These are all okay. Monk fruit's another one. These are okay sweeteners. But again, don't mix that in with a bunch of flour, which is going to convert into sugar anyway. But if you want to have a soda, for example, you can have it sweetened with stevia. That's kind of tasty. All right, we're going to take some callers. If you have a question, give us a call. The number here is 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. That number, by the way, rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. Greg, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. Joe. I've had this chronic. It started out as I think a bone spur, and then I started thinking it was a little bit later. It's like my Achilles. Every morning I wake up and I cannot hardly walk.
Sure.
And it slowly starts to loosen up to the point where I can actually go out and play court games. But then when I get still, I drive home from a match or something.
Sure.
Then it's stiff again, and I'm hobbling all day long. And I can't decide what type of doctor to go see.
Okay. Yeah, we see these all the time, Greg. 1/4 of all the bones in your body are in your feet. There's 206 bones in the body. 1/4 of them are in your feet. So what happens a lot of times is one or more of those bones moves out of place. And so now when you're walking, you have this smooth, what's called a gait, or you walk is very smooth when all the bones are lined up. It's kind of jamming up, like the gears are jammed up. And that can cause a heck of a lot of pain. Now, as you're walking around, you're kind of loosening things up again, but when you sleep, things kind of fall back out of place. Now, could be a bone spur as well. So chances are, even if it is a bone spur, it started with a misaligned bone in your foot. So I would recommend, and we have an office not far from you, chiropractors who know how to adjust feet. And you want to get your feet checked, but also get your whole spine checked. Because if you've been walking, it throws the knee out, which throws the hips out, which throws the back out. So it's probably going to need the whole body realigned. But we see these things all day, every day. It's not uncommon and usually pretty easy to fix.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Let's take another caller. What the heck? If you have a question, folks, 844-44 Dr. Joe. Keith, how can we make your day better?
Hello?
Hey, Keith.
Hey, my question is about soy and plant estrogens.
Uh-huh.
If a man is got low testosterone or borderline low testosterone,
Uh-huh.
how would consumption of soy product affect?
You know, that is such a great question, because people always lose their minds when they hear about phytoestrogens and soy and, oh my gosh, when you're eating animal products, these animal products many times are given steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods, which are really going to beat up on your hormones. So the plant estrogens are extremely weak estrogens. They don't really have a big impact. But if you're eating commercial meats where they've given them estrogen to make them gain weight, you're going to have a whole lot bigger impact on your hormone levels than eating something with soy in it. Now, here's the thing with soy. I want you to do organic only. And the reason is up to 94% of all the soybeans in this country are genetically modified. And when you genetically modify soy or any plant, it changes the molecular structure of it. Now, there's a debate over this, and all the studies I read are pretty clear. There is no debate. You know, genetically modified foods are different than non-genetically modified foods. But try to do organic soy. Now, that being said, Keith, you want to go out for Thai food one night, you want to have some tofu in your meal, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's such a small component compared to everything else that you're doing as far as affecting your hormones. What I would recommend if you do have low testosterone, and unfortunately as we get older, our testosterone levels do drop for us boys and girls, is you want to get your adrenal glands working properly. The adrenal glands produce something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone becomes DHEA, and DHEA becomes testosterone. If you're under stress, that DHEA becomes cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So I take adrenal supplements every single day. Okay, I'm in my mid-50s. I take adrenal supplements every single day because I don't want to just have normal aging occur. I want to keep my adrenals healthy for a long time. And when I do, I find that my testosterone levels are up pretty good. So I don't eat animal products, so I take Withenia and Eleuthero. If you take animal products, I use a company called Standard Process. They make a product called Drenamin, and that's what I would do. So is soy an issue? If you're eating a lot of it, maybe it's an issue, but it's not an issue in the big scheme of things as far as I'm concerned.
So the cortisol production, if you're in a high-stress occupation,
yes,
will that increase your insulin secretion?
It can, yes, absolutely, yes. Mm-hmm. And that can cause insulin resistance, which can lead to obesity and diabetes and brain malfunction because you're not using glucose properly. So that's why it's important to feed those adrenal glands so that they can stay healthy and not essentially burn out. And change your diet.
Okay.
Okay? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Thank you
Keith.
very much.
Really appreciate the call. I got the best callers in the world, man. I got to tell you, man. I listen to a lot of talk shows, and I just love my audience. You guys are great. Folks, got to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, 844-44 Dr. Joe. My website, drjoeesposito.com. We talked about Dr. Joe's Super Greens, an essential source. That's the minimum amount of nutrients you need every single day, and you can get those on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, tell your friends about the show. I'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. I am Dr. Joe. Glad you could be here with me today. We're talking today about fake health foods. So many times people are duped into thinking something is healthy for them, and it's not. But before I go back into it, I want to have Maria on. Maria, you there?
I'm here.
Maria, tell us your story.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I started taking Dr. Joe's Essential Source and Super Greens in February. At that time, I had floaters and flashers in my eyes. Those are completely gone.
Wow.
I swim, and I have to swim in a certain lane so I can see the clock, the 2 lanes closest to the clock. Well, one day I was swimming in a lane further away from the clock, and I looked up and I could see the clock. I could read the clock.
That's awesome.
And another thing, too, is that I have low blood sugar, and my doctor put me on Biogenema about 19 years ago. I'm still on it, but sometimes I don't take it as regularly every day, like I'm supposed to.
Sure.
But Super Greens and Essential Source has definitely helped to control my low blood sugar.
Marie, you can call the show anytime you want. That's a great...
Well, it's the truth.
Well, it's great.
It's the darn truth.
And it tastes fine, right?
Oh, I love it. I take it every day, no matter what. I do almond milk. I throw in my frozen fruit, my flax seeds, and my Super Greens, 1 scoop of each. I do it every morning. That's my breakfast, and an apple. That's my breakfast.
And it fills you up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I'm telling you, it's amazing how it's. I'm flabbergasted at what it has done for me.
I feel the same way you do, Maria. It's like, why doesn't the whole world take this? It's relatively inexpensive. It tastes great. It works wonders. I have macular degeneration. I was going blind 5 years ago, and I invented this. That's why I invented it for myself. And I started taking it, and my vision has gotten, long story short, about 80% better. My macular degeneration has gotten about 80% better. And the doctor's like, macular degeneration never gets better. It always gets worse or stays the same. Whatever you're doing, they kept saying, don't change what you're doing. And so I'm like you. I take it at least once a day. So, well, good.
It does work. And also, I had double vision, too, and even that is improved.
Oh, wow. I'd never heard somebody getting double vision improving. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be. Definitely has improved. There's no question.
So you promise me you're going to take it for the rest of your life?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Without it.
I got your commitment. Maria, thanks so much for the call. I do appreciate it. Thanks so much. And, folks, if you want to get Super Greens and Essential Source, there are 2 powders. There's 2 supplements, and it kind of gave you a brief history of where they came from. Those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Relatively inexpensive, tastes great. And one of the callers, Doug, I'm going to get to you in a second about energy. My energy is off the chart every day. People say, how do you keep your energy that high all day, every day? And the answer really is I eat a good diet, I get chiropractic care, and I take Super Greens and Essential Source. Also available on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, you can order it there, too. It's Dr. Joe Esposito. My books are there, too. Eating Right for the Health of It, Prescription for Extreme Health. We have Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser for people that have bowel troubles. A lot of good stuff on that website and on Amazon, too. And on the website, we also archive radio shows, so you can listen to any show you want, anytime you want. And we videotape my live lectures. So if you're a visual learner, you can go there and watch some lectures. Which leads us into Doug. Doug, how are we going to help make your day better?
Yes, sir. I'm 61 years old, and I work outside anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day. And I've taken all kind of superfoods over the years. I just bought your Essentials about a month ago, so I haven't been on it too long.
Okay.
But I try to drink plenty of water during the day. I even add minerals and electrolyte supplement to the water to increase or enhance it.
Okay.
I drink the Gatorade G2, which is low in sugar, to try to keep the minerals and electrolytes up.
Uh-huh.
But I also take a protein supplement at night, like a big shake, with almond milk or cashew milk, just to kind of, support the muscles after a day of working. And I'm just wondering, is there anything else I can do to try to keep the fatigue down, and then the energy level up during the day?
Yeah, well, you're doing the water, which is really a key right here. We talked earlier about adrenal problems. As we get older, our organs start to fail. I mean, that's why we die. And so by keeping the adrenals up and running, that helps tremendously. And then also, you might want to consider your B vitamins, because a lot of times we become B vitamin deficient, especially if you're outside a lot, you're using up those B vitamins. You can take a B vitamin supplement. If you call my office, I can recommend one. And also, you can use something called nutritional yeast. I get that at a health food store, and I love the flavor of nutritional yeast, and that has lots of B vitamins in it as well. And then the other thing, of course, as a chiropractor, I always question, is the body lined up properly? Because structure affects function. And if you've got structural issues, bones out of place, pinching nerves and or blood vessels, you have to kind of muscle through that. And I find after I get adjusted, if I have an issue, my energy level goes through the ceiling as well. So you might want to consider some adrenal supplements, B vitamins, and then if you want to, again, we have an office not far from you. We could always check the spine to see if there's any structural issues.
So if you just Google or whatever adrenal supplements, they'll just pop up like on Amazon or something like that. And
there's a lot of them out there. I use a company called Standard Process. They only sell to doctors. They don't even sell to the public because my grandfather, I wrote about this in my new book, Prescription for Extreme Health. He was a German immigrant, came here in 1922 to get away from the Nazis. And he said, Joseph, always buy the best. It's always cheaper. And here's a man who had no money, didn't speak the language, was a German coming to America during World War II. But he was a very wise man, and you always want to buy the best, especially when it comes to food and supplements, because you can buy them if they don't work. You're going to say, well, that didn't work. Well, it was a junk supplement. It's not that the supplement didn't work. So if you call my office, 844-44-Dr. Joe, and I'm not on the air, we can tell you about the companies I recommend, and then we can give you some specific pricing as well. And we can get it shipped to you if you want.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. I do appreciate it. So we're talking today about fake health food or junk food. I guess it would be that too. Another one that drives me nuts is enhanced water. These waters that they say they add vitamins to it. A lot of the brands have added sugar. They have artificial sweeteners in them, which is bad for you. And also they use what's called synthetic supplements. And the synthetic supplements do not work as well as what's called a whole food supplement, because the whole food supplements work much better than the synthetics. And a good example might be vitamin C. Vitamin C is, if you take ascorbic acid, it can be still labeled as vitamin C, but it's only 1/8 of the vitamin C molecule. And I don't want you to take 1/8 of a supplement. I want you to take the whole supplement. That's why things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source work so well, because we use whole food concentrates. Folks, got to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, give me a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe, DRJOE. That number rings through to my office when I'm not on the air. My website, lots of good information there. Send me questions through the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Folks, we want to be your doctors. We want to help you naturally get well and stay well. Hey, do me a favor. Tell your friends about the show, and don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, this is the show that's going to turn your life around. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, we're going to give you the information you need to naturally get well and stay well. And I'm glad you're here. Hope you're learning good things when we're together, and we're going to continue teaching you forever and ever, we hope. And we're talking today about fake health foods, things that you think are actually good for you, but they're not. And this was an interesting one. I remember learning this back in school way back when, and I haven't talked about this, I don't think, maybe ever on the air. People many times will buy what's called 2% milk, and they'll think it's healthier than whole milk. But what you don't realize, whole milk is 3.25% fat. Reduced fat, 2% is 2%. So 3.25 versus 2%. So it's just about less than 2% less than regular milk. It's actually 1.75% less fat. So just because it says 2%, it's a little bit different. But the problem is this. I'm not a big fan of low-fat and fat-free foods because your body needs fat to absorb vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K. It also needs fat because if you're not eating, fat makes you feel full. And if you're not eating enough fat, you're oftentimes eating more sugar. And fat then can actually be turned into fuel, something called ketones. And if you start burning ketones, your body is functioning at a more efficient level in many cases. So the 2% milk is really only 1.75% less than the whole milk. Now, I don't drink milk. I haven't had any animal products in over 30 years. I'm not a big fan of animal products, milk being one of them, cheese, butter, yogurt, ice cream, meat, of course. And if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. I'm not asking you to become a vegetarian or vegan. I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you to educate yourself so that you can make the right decision based on your information. Not having knowledge is a dangerous thing. And some famous man once said, forgive them, say it with me, for they know not what they do. And if you don't know, then you can't make good decisions. That's why we do this show, is to help you make better decisions. And many times, if it's commercial milk, you might be looking at some chemicals and hormones and steroids and pesticides that you may not want in your diet. So what I choose to do, and again, what you choose to do is up to you, I choose to do almond milk, cashew milk, rice milk, coconut milk, which is actually my favorite, coconut milk. Perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about calcium. You're not getting a whole lot of calcium from milk anyway. It's not absorbable calcium anyway, so you don't really have to worry about all that. And so my choice is not to do milk, and hopefully I'll educate you enough that maybe you'll make decisions like that too. So 2% milk is not a health food. Let's go back to the callers. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Cameron, how can we make your day better?
Yes, it's my wife, actually.
How can we make her better?
Yes, sir. She's had multiple tests done. She retains fluid like crazy about 2, 3, maybe 4 times a week.
Okay.
She went to a neurologist. She's gone to a cardiologist. Everything comes back fine.
Okay.
But she gets excruciating pain to the point she can't sleep. She can't work. She can't do anything.
So where is it retained? Is it in ankles or her whole body?
It's feet and hands for the most part.
Got it. Okay. Couple of things you might want to look at. Of course, I'm sure they tested kidney function. I can't imagine any doctor wouldn't have tested kidney function at this point.
Yeah.
So you check the kidney function. Kidney function is fine. So then we want to look at what else can retain fluid in her body. And one of the tricks is she may need to drink more water.
We tried that as well. She drinks quite a bit of water.
Okay, good.
Allergen test, and she had a slight allergic reaction to soy and gluten and milk, eggs, or whole eggs, I'd say.
Yeah. Those are all foods she should probably stay away from anyway, so that I have no problem with her staying away from those. That's good. If we can't find something when we test the organs, what I usually do is then I look for the nerves going to the organs.
Okay.
I use the analogy, if I came into a room and the lights were off, I could do one of two things. I could change the light bulb, or I can check the switch to make sure the electricity is getting to the light bulb. And, of course, the first thing you and I would do is check the switch, is what we do all day, every day. So as a chiropractor, of course, I always check the nerves to the organs because the nerves and the blood vessels wrap around each other as they travel through the body. So if she has pinched nerves at the spinal level, she may be pinching the blood vessels, which can be causing circulatory issues.
And Ryan, to add on to that, yes, she has a lot of nerve pain where her feet will go numb. Her hands will go.
See how smart I am? Maybe it is a neurological issue. And I've seen this happen before, so go ahead.
Okay. What do you suggest we do? I mean, come in for an appointment, or is there anything dietary? The super greens. Is there anything that you would recommend?
Super greens an essential source. Of course, the body needs the minimum amount of nutrients to function, and that's the super greens an essential source. So I would absolutely positively say yes. Let's get on that right away. So that's an easy one. You want to come see us? I'm more than happy to take a look at her and see if there's any neurological issues. Sounds like there is. And then the third thing I would then consider is a liver issue. Because the liver is a filter, and everything filters through the liver. And sometimes if we get fluid retention, it could be a liver problem, and we keep thinking kidney when it could be liver. But bring her in to we'll take a look at her. But the super green is the essential source. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I tested the liver as well, and that also came okay. That's what's been hard on us. Neurologist, cardiologist, the doctor, they did all the lab work.
Okay, good.
Fine.
Well, the good news, Cameron, is we know what it's not. And that's why I love doing tests on patients or when they come in with a bunch of tests, because I know it's not a tumor, it's not cancer, it's not whatever. Now we start looking at the things they haven't checked, neurological issues, and then we look at a dietary issue as well.
Okay.
Cool.
And where's your nearest location to us?
We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge.
Okay.
Okay. So
thanks so much.
Thanks so much. And folks, if I'm not on the air, the number 844-44-Dr. Joe does ring through to my offices. And if you have a question, lines are open right now. 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. The website, drjoeesposito.com. Lots of good information, archived radio shows, articles that I've written, the Super Greens, an essential source that everybody keeps talking about all over the country and now all over the world, actually. We get calls from all over the world now about it. Just so popular. It's so great. I'm so proud of those products because they work so well, and I enjoy them. And they're on the website. Also on Amazon, too. If you have an Amazon account, it might be easier to order there if you want to. That's why we put them on Amazon. drjoeesposito.com is the website. And we're talking today about health foods, fake health foods, things that you think are health foods and they're not. Let's see. We're going to have to go to break pretty soon. When we come back, I'm going to list a whole bunch more things that you think are health foods, but they're not. So I don't want to go into that yet. But again, if you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe. And you know what, folks? Got to tell you this. Follow me on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Dr. Joe Esposito. Follow me on Instagram. We send out lots of good information. Go to my website, sign up for our newsletter. That's no charge as well. Lots of good information on the website, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, tell your friends about the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I am so glad that you're here. Hopefully you're learning lots of good things today. We're getting a lot of callers and lots of messages, lots of people liking us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, Dr. Joe Esposito. And because we do send out good information. And also we do lectures, and we record those live lectures and put them on my website as well in case you're a visual learner. We record all our radio shows, of course, put them on the website as well. We have our podcast there. And there's a lot of information we talk about, and you may have to listen to it a few times before it all sinks in. Again, I've been doing this for 35 years, more than that with my schooling and everything, but I've been in practice 32 years. So there's a lot of things that you might not get the first time around. That's why we give you all that, and it's all no charge. So we're talking today about fake health foods. And another one kind of goes under the chicken versus beef. People have turkey hot dogs instead of beef hot dogs, and they think they're doing themselves good. Sometimes I'll say less fat, but read the fine print. You're going to find there's still plenty of fat left in each one of those little sausages. Many times there's nitrates and nitrites that can lead to cancer. And also the turkeys, depending on what they're fed, unless they're organic, are probably being fed antibiotics, and they're also being fed genetically modified food like corn and soy. And genetically modified food is not a good thing. So if you have to do hot dogs, and I remember my favorite hot dogs growing up in New York, I won't say a brand name, but they used to use pig intestine. They'd wash out all the junk from the pig intestine, and then they'd grind up the pig and stuff it back in its own colon, and it had that nice crunchy skin on it. Man, that was delicious. Crunchy skin, some sauerkraut, and some onions. Oh, it was great. But turkey dogs, chicken dogs, you're not doing yourself any better. They use the parts, I don't remember there was a commercial, parts is parts. They just use parts of animals many times to make the dog. So probably not a good choice. There are vegetarian or plant-based hot dogs. They're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. But just be careful what you're putting in your body, because it amazes me what we expect our bodies to do. We put all this junk in our bodies all day, every day, and then we can't figure out why the body doesn't work. Why do I have neck pain and back pain and numbness and tingling and skin rashes and itchy parts of my body that shouldn't itch? And why am I constipated? Why does my breath stink? Why do I have wrinkles? A lot of that has to do with the food that you're eating. And here's my thing. You have to eat anyway. Why not eat good food? It's just that simple. There's 7 foods you want to avoid. There's about 120,000 foods that are good for you. So it's not hard, to me, to do the math. I'd rather choose from the 120,000 list than those 7. All right, let's take another caller. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. David, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Doc. Got a question about almond milk.
Okay.
Lower testosterone?
No, I've never heard that before. In fact, almond milk doesn't have a whole lot of almonds in it, to be honest with you. I remember there was a news report a while ago, almond milk is very low in almonds, and it's a scam, you're wasting your money. Well, no, not really. I mean, if you're using it not as a nutritional thing, but just as something like I mix my super greens and my essential source in almond milk. So, no, the almond milk, I've never heard that it would lower testosterone. No.
Okay. Is it pointless taking multivitamins? I mean,
it depends
I'm
on
looking into your super greens.
Yeah,
I definitely want to take those.
Yeah, the essential source has a multivitamin in it. It's a complete multivitamin, and it's wheatgrass, and it's over 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes. The super greens are wheatgrass, barley grass, and alfalfa grass to alkalize your system. Omega-3 fatty acids from chlorella and spirulina, which is the best source of omega-3 in the world. Now, to answer your question, it depends on the brand, and it was a neat study I remember reading a while ago, and I did the whole research on it on glucosamine and chondroitin, which has helped build up joints. Now, I'm going somewhere with this, so follow me. And I read the whole study. It talked about the biochemistry and how the body utilizes it and the pathways that it's absorbed. And then the bottom line, he says, if it costs less than $1.25 a serving, or a dosage, it doesn't work. Anything below that didn't work. So cheap stuff is just that. And usually when I see a study printed that says a certain supplement doesn't work, in fact, in my experience, if I can find the source, 100% of the time, they're using synthetic supplements. So you want to make sure you're not using synthetic supplements, and then you're okay. But if you're taking super greens and essential source, you won't need a multivitamin.
Awesome. And is it all right to take can't say a name brand, but an aspirin a day?
I'm not a big fan of aspirin a day, only because it can damage your digestive system. So why would you be taking it?
Well, I know you're not going to like this. My testosterone was low, so I started doing the synthetic testosterone with my doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
And he said make sure you take one a day, because it's not good for you, and it thickens your blood. So he was telling me it'll thin my blood
want
out
to thin
a
your
little
blood out. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. The synthetic testosterone, a lot of guys do that. In fact, a company came to me and asked me if I would do endorsements for them, because as a radio show host, of course, we like to do endorsements. We get paid for that. And when I did the research on it, I was not happy with, like I said, the side effects, because if you start taking anything from the outside or synthetic, many times your body stops producing it internally. So my approach is try to get you to produce it internally so you don't need it from an outside source, getting to the cause of the problem, not just treating the symptoms. And so for testosterone levels, of course, you got to cut out all the foods that are high in estrogen, the meats and the dairy products. Stay away from things that are endocrine disrupting, like perfumes, hairsprays, colognes, carpet cleaners, air fresheners. These are all chemicals that are like phthalates that interrupt your hormones and act like estrogen. Exercise, of course, is great for testosterone. Utilizing the male organs, trying to keep this clean here, is important to keep the testosterone levels high as well. You got to use it or lose it type thing. And then I would take adrenal supplements, and there's also supplements you can take for your testicles as well that would help the testosterone as well. So that would be my approach. Make sense?
All right. And
Cool
you said you have offices in Stockbridge, Marietta, and Duluth?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Great.
I appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, David. Appreciate the call. And folks, if you want to go to my website, lots of good information there. In fact, it's so cool. When I'm on the air, I'll say, follow me on Facebook, and bam, I can just look at my Facebook page. It just lights up, bam, 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 and then I get all the folks follow me on Instagram as well, because we do send out not a lot of information, not a lot of stuff, but when we do send it out, it's relevant. When we're doing a radio show, when we're doing a lecture. And come out to the live lectures if you have an opportunity. Last time I did a live lecture near my office, it was standing room only. I mean, it was packed. People had, almost waiting outside. So live lectures are a lot of fun because I can show you things I can't show you on the radio, because so much of healthcare is physical, not chemical, and we keep trying to treat it chemically. Does that make sense? Because as a chiropractor, if a bone is out of place pinching a nerve, we physically put the bones back in place. Another thing we find that's very common is digestive problems. Acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. Sound like you? Probably does. The stomach can push up into the diaphragm, and if the stomach pushes up into the diaphragm, you might have acid reflux, heartburn. That's telling me you're not digesting your food properly. So we can take pills to lower our stomach acid, or what I find works in almost every patient is we gently massage or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm so that the stomach relaxes, the bowels go back to normal function, and you're able to digest food again. So there's a lot of physical things that I believe is the missing link in healthcare. When we start incorporating physical health into the chemical health chemical medicine we're doing now, I think we've got the treating the cause and not just the symptoms. Folks, my website, drjoeesposito.com. If you want to order Super Greens, send me questions, listen to radio shows. Also available on Amazon if you want product. Hey, don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for being here. This is the show that gives you straight talk on health. We wanted to teach you how to naturally get well and stay well. And I think we do a pretty good job of it, obviously, by the feedback we've been getting for the past several years we've been on the air. And this show is heard coast to coast and around the world because people like you have been demanding that this show be brought to your neighborhood. And thank you all for that so much, because obviously we're growing in leaps and bounds. And it's pretty exciting. In fact, I think, according to my syndicator, we are the #1 health talk radio show in the country right now. Isn't that nice? And you guys made us that way. So we're talking today about fake health foods. And if you're on hold for calls, folks, keep hanging on. I'm going to get to you. So we're talking today about fake health foods. Another thing that gets me is granola. And people say, well, it's granola, it must be good for me. Well, not necessarily, because if you ever read the ingredients that's in your granola, many times it's loaded with bad fats, fats maybe like corn oil or peanut oil, which is high in omega-6 fatty acids, and omega-6 fatty acids cause inflammation. And, of course, as a chiropractor, I want less inflammation in your body, not more. And it's just loaded with sugar in most cases. Now, if you make your own, you can kind of handle it. You can figure out how much sugar is going in there. If you buy processed granolas, many times it is just a bag of sugar. So just be careful with that, and don't think you're eating something healthy when you're eating granola when you're not. Now, if you want to, you can take oats, plain old-fashioned oats, and you can mix it with your own. You mix some nuts in there if you want to, and eat it that way. Because old-fashioned oats don't have to be cooked, by the way, folks. They're already cooked. What happens is they take groats, which is the whole oat, and then they chop it up and they make steel-cut oats, and then they steam the steel-cut oats and roll them out. That's why they're called rolled oats. So they're already cooked. You don't have to cook them. And then you can mix your own. And what I do sometimes, if I'm in a rush, like sometimes I just need a quick snack, I'll take some rolled oats, I'll add some coconut milk or almond milk to it, maybe some nuts, some blueberries, and I'll eat that. Very filling, high in fiber, low in sugar, and it tastes pretty good too. Let's go back to the callers. If you have a question, 844-44 Joe. Chip, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. Joe. I was just thinking about maybe, becoming someone who specializes in the healthcare field, perhaps even a doctor. I was wondering where you went to medical school.
I didn't go to medical school. I'm a chiropractor. I went to Life University in Marietta, and they have a lot more than just chiropractic degrees, nutrition degrees, wellness degrees, sports physiology, and I just love the school. I think it's great. So it might be something you might want to consider going there. But I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a chiropractor.
Oh, I see. Okay. I actually live very to Life University. I used to deliver pizzas there a couple of years ago.
Well, there you go. Yeah, if you go there, make sure you mention my name, or if you want to call my office, I'll get you hooked up for a tour there. I've got some inside, contacts there, and we can get you set up for something. I think it's really worth your time then if you're thinking about going into the health field, whether it's nutrition, chiropractic, sports physiology. It's a real good place to go.
Okay, that sounds great. Do they have smoking areas there?
I don't know that. That's a good question. Shouldn't be smoking, Chip. You know that.
I'm just wondering.
All right, Chip. Thanks so much. Chip, you shouldn't be smoking. And the number, folks, if you want to reach me, if you want to reach my offices, 844-44 Joe, rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. So we're talking today about health foods that really aren't health foods, and you may be being duped into something that you think is. And I talked a few seconds ago about oatmeal. And you can just take rolled oats, add some coconut milk or almond milk to it. I add some nuts to it. You can also add some chia seeds to it because chia is loaded with fiber. And there's two types of fiber. There's soluble and non-soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is slimy. Okay, if you let oatmeal sit, it gets a little slimy. Okra, if you've ever had okra, if you let okra sit for a while, it kind of gets that slimy feeling to it. That's called soluble fiber. And what that does, when it gets into your colon, it wraps around toxic chemicals and waste products and carries it through your colon. So it flushes all the toxins out of your system. And so if you start adding chia seeds, you get soluble and non-soluble fiber. And this is a way to help balance out your blood sugar. Because what happens is if you're eating a high-fiber diet, it's going to slowly push the food that you're eating through your colon and give you a slow release of sugar. And the body can handle a slow release of sugar. It has problems when it's a big release of sugar. So, for example, if I eat an apple, still a lot of sugar, but it has fiber in it. If I drink apple juice, it's just like drinking pure sugar. So I wouldn't recommend you do that. I never recommend you drink fruit juices ever under any circumstances because they're just loaded with sugar. Now, there are certain fruits that are less sugar, papaya, kiwi, lower in sugar. But when you start looking at those high sugar foods like watermelons, just be careful with that. That's an awful lot of sugar. But if you add some chia seeds into your oats, that might be a nice little way to get some more fiber in your body. And you can also add the chia seeds to your Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source as well, because that's the two powders, and I mix it with coconut milk, and it's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need on a daily basis. And all day, every day, I get testimonials from patients all around the country and around the world that take it, and they're just thrilled with how good they feel, relatively inexpensive. It's like 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables and 1 scoop of Essential Source. So really is something I would consider, I would strongly advise you to add to your diet. And those are available on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Also available on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, it might be a little easier for you. Another thing you might think is a health food is low-fat yogurt. Now, yogurt, it's touted as a nutrition superfood. It's rich in protein, it's rich in calcium, but a lot of the commercial yogurts are just loaded with sugar. And in fact, I was at one of my health food stores that I shop at, and they had a coconut yogurt made with coconut milk. Well, if you're going to do yogurt, that's what I recommend. But this one was key lime, I think it was. So I looked at a little container, and I looked on the back, and it was like 27 grams of sugar. Now, you shouldn't, in a perfect world, you wouldn't eat anything that has more than 10 grams of sugar per serving ever. That's a perfect world, okay? Every now and then, that's not even my world, but it's a perfect world. And I thought 27 grams of sugar in this little container, this isn't going to fill me up. This isn't even a snack. and I'm getting all that sugar in my body, no fiber, not a good idea. Now, some of the brands can add 30 grams or more, fructose, sucrose, artificial sweeteners sometimes. Not really a health food. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm eating yogurt because it's high in probiotics. Well, it is when it's made. But many times the yogurt has to be pasteurized before it can be sold. So the yogurt is loaded with probiotics, and then when we pasteurize it, why do we pasteurize things? It kills off bacteria. Good bacteria as well as bad bacteria. So now we're killing off the bacteria, and there goes your probiotics. The probiotics are the good bacteria. So by the time you eat it, or if you buy it it's shipped to the store, and even after the pasteurization, if some of them survive, it's shipped to the store, then you buy it, then you put it in your refrigerator, and then it sits there for a couple of days, and then you eat it. Many times by the time you're getting it, the probiotic level is negligible. So yogurt may not be the health food that you think it is. And if you're going to do yogurt, of course, I'd recommend coconut. You can do, I think they do rice milk yogurt as well. Almond milk, I've seen almond yogurt already. Much better choice, but please just get the plain. Don't get it with all those sugars because they taste so good, those sugars, don't they? Because sugar stimulates a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens. And the nucleus accumbens releases dopamine, which is the pleasure neurotransmitter. So you're getting high every time you eat that stuff. And so that's where the problems come in. You got to be really careful about what you're eating because when you start eating that stuff, you can get high and you want to eat more, more, more. I think Donna Summer had a song like that. Was it Donna Summer? More, more, more? Anyway, folks, got to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, 844-44 Dr. Joe. That rings through to my office when I'm not on the air. My website, tons of good information. Order supplements, get my books, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. This is the show where we naturally get you well and keep you well. I do appreciate you telling your friends about the show because so many folks like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, send us questions through the website, drjoeesposito.com. Do appreciate that. And I have to thank my friend Kevin, my old grammar school and high school buddy from Carlstead, New Jersey. He's listening, and I said more. I thought it was Donna Summer, and he said, no, it was Andrea True and the Andrea True connection. So there's the useless information of the day. Thank you, Kevin. So today what we're talking about is junk food that kind of disguises itself as health food. And you think you're doing something good and you're not. And another thing that gets me, because I do nutrition analysis on just about every one of my patients. Patients come in our offices, and as a chiropractor, I check their nervous system, I check their digestive system, and then we do a nutritional workup as well on them because we want to find out if they're doing the things that they need to do to get the best healing as fast as possible. Because my goal is get you well as quickly as possible. You have control over what you eat and the chemicals you're exposing yourself to. The structural issues, that's when my doctors come in and we work together to get you well. And people come in and they'll say, Dr. Joe, I eat a really good diet. And I'll say, okay, write down everything you eat for a couple of days. And they'll write down everything they eat. And then I'll go over it with them and I'll think to myself, wow, this isn't even close. And one of the things they'll put down is they do multigrain bread. I only do multigrain bread or 7-grain bread. You look at the flip that over and read the nutritional label. It's still a bunch of sugar. So even if it's more than one type of grain, the product is usually made up of largely refined grains, white flour, things like that, which are stripped of the fiber, stripped of a lot of the nutrients. And this is another thing. Something that's happened recently in the wheat industry is not many times, I don't know how often, but it does happen, where the wheat farmers are now spraying what's called glyphosate, weed killer, on the grains to kill the grain before they harvest it. And the reason is it's easier to harvest. It doesn't put so much stress on the harvesting machine. So as a businessman, I think that's a great idea. But as a nutritional expert, I don't think it's a good idea because this glyphosate, this weed killer, can build up on the grains. And then they grind the grains, and of course you're eating it. And I'm seeing a lot more patients, and since, again, I've been doing this for well over 3 decades, coming in and they're saying, when I give up the wheat, I feel so much better. Now, wheat has a protein in it called gluten, which is a lectin, and that's a whole bunch of chemistry here. And gluten is made up of gliadin and glutenin, and it can irritate your bowels. But a lot of patients, myself included, find that if you go to, let's say, Europe and eat wheat, it doesn't seem to irritate your digestive system, but in the States it does. And one of the reasons could be that it's not really a wheat issue, it's a glyphosate issue. It's a weed killer issue, that you're putting this weed killer in your body, and that's what's not making you feel good. So if you're going to do grains, and I don't think you should, But if you do, because I'm willing to negotiate with you, I want you to do organic only so you don't run the risk of getting those toxic chemicals. Another thing that's a fake junk food is those things called light oil, a light olive oil. And you're thinking to yourself, well, light sounds good. Light must mean I'm going to get skinny if I eat it. But many times what it is, it's the same calorie, fat content. It's just lighter in color and taste. Now, there's a big problem with olive oils. And as an Italian, of course, I worry about this, that they're selling a lot of fake olive oil. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you buy olive oil, I want you to put it in your refrigerator overnight. Check the bottle the next day. If the olive oil is cloudy, that's a good thing. What that means is you got real olive oil. If it doesn't turn cloudy, it's probably mixed with a lot of cheaper oils, and it's not going to give you the best bang for your buck. I don't want you to throw it away. I want you to take it back to the store where you bought it, get the manager out, and say, listen, Dr. Joe told me how to test to see if this is real olive oil, and it's not. And there's a lot of major companies that have been busted. I won't say names on the air, of course, but a lot of major companies that are busted for selling the fake olive oil. And again, they're just having it labeled with their name on it. It's not, I can't blame them specifically, but their suppliers are giving them junk. So just be careful with that. As an Italian, I want to make sure you eat nothing but the best. I don't want you to eat the good stuff like Grandma Esposito used to feed me. Another thing, added omega-3 fatty acids. Things like yogurt, milk, eggs, cereal, they'll and other foods, they'll boost the omega-3s by saying they've added or extra omega-3s. Now, it may not be the kind of omega-3s that you need. Now, your body needs something called EPA and DHA. These are the forms of omega-3 fatty acids that your body needs. Or maybe they've just added a little bit. So if they're adding things like flaxseed oil, that is omega-3 fatty acids, and I have no problem with you doing that. However, that's an ALA form. ALA has to be converted into DHA and EPA. A lot of chemistry again for you. So the best type of omega-3 fatty acids, there's 3 types I'm going to talk about, and I'll tell you which one I use. There's fish oil, which of course is the one you know about. Most people say fish oil. If you're going to do fish oil, you have to make sure several things. Number one, it's a very high quality and that it's certified mercury-free. Because a lot of fish will build up mercury in their bodies because they eat up the food chain. They're higher in the food chain, and they've been around a lot longer, so they've had more time to accumulate mercury, which builds up into water, and I won't give you all the details on that. So if you're going to eat fish, smaller fish is going to be a better oil. So anchovies, sardines, much better than, let's say, tuna oil. Now, if you're going to do tuna oil, which is fine, just make sure it's a high quality and certified mercury-free. The better choice than fish oil, I feel, is krill oil. Krill is in what's called a phospholipid form, and the phospholipid form is a lot easier to absorb. And so the krill are also very small, so they don't have a lot of mercury buildup in their body. So fish oil, not my favorite. If you're going to do it, it's fine. Just make sure it's certified mercury-free. Krill oil, next best choice. And then algae oil is the purest form because fish don't produce omega-3 fatty acids, whether it's calamari or if it's a sardine. They eat it. They get it from eating smaller animals that eat smaller animals that eat algae. Algae produces the omega-3 fatty acids, the ALA and the DHA form, the DHA and the EPA, I'm sorry. So I do a krill oil every day. I do a gram of krill oil every day, which in my case is 2 tablets. And not krill, I'm sorry, of algae oil. Messed that up there. I do algae oil every day. I do a gram a day. And the algae oil is the form of the omega-3s that your body needs. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It helps the brain work more efficiently. So there's a lot of benefit to doing that. But again, it's like anything else. If you're going to do it, only do the best. Because if you're going to do the best, it's always cheaper. That's why Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, we make sure we monitor the sources of these products. And I take it every day. My family takes it. My staff takes it. My patients, and hopefully you take it too, because I only want the best for you. And if you want to get the Super Greens, the Essential Source, I think you should. Try it for a month. Try it forever, actually, but try it for a month. I think you'll be very happy. And those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or you just Google Dr. Joe with the #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Lots of archived radio shows there. You can get my books there, read articles that I've written, send me questions through the website. drjoeesposito.com. Also, if you want to order products, we have them on Amazon as well if you have an Amazon account. Folks, if you missed this show, you missed a great one. I'm going to archive it on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Tell your friends about the show. We'll catch you next time.